Hey, welcome to the Withering Effect. This is episode 21 and I'm Bankaaardappel, but everyone just calls me Bank. And today is the 5th of November, but for me it's the 6th already and it's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Bank.
Thank you.
My name is Duds, or Duds Versus, known to the rest of the internet. And today we're going to talk about some Minecraft. But first, other than today being your birthday, what have you been up to, Bank?
I did some work on my base, a lot of nature work. I built a lot of custom trees.
Ooh.
So obviously I didn't record it, but it was kind of fun and it's making nice progress. I'm happy with the results. I'll share it soon on YouTube. And I spent hours looking through the forums and everything to find something for my Audacity thingy. No results yet, really, which surprised me, but I'm gonna look into it more and monitor a bit better on what's actually going on, see if that helps.
Yeah.
And then I watched the whole Hunger Games series for the first time, which is probably a bit late to do that, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was hyped a bit more than it deserved, probably.
Yes.
Or because of all its hype, I thought it was a better movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but it was quite predictable, I thought, which took away a bit of the fun, maybe.
Yes, I just realized I was rubbing my hands right next to my microphone, so that probably got picked up.
I didn't notice it, but...
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was a completely overhyped movie, but it was a good movie for what it was. I was introduced to it through my sister because she really wanted to go see it, but she didn't have any friends at the time. Like, her friends were at a different college or whatever, but her college was like an hour drive from me. So when she was having homesick issues or something like that, I would just go up there and see her, and we'd always go to a movie. Well, she wanted to see that, so we went and we saw it, and I enjoyed it for the most part. She ended up giving me the books because she had the books already, so I read those by the time the second one came out, and I really liked the second one. It stayed really close to the book, so I was happy with that.
Okay.
But agreed, they're really predictable. You can kind of guess what's going to happen. Yeah. And you kind of just have to take it as it is. So, but other than that, I really like the acting was in it. I really like the idea of the whole district, especially considering, like, from what my sister showed me, District 12, which is like the main hero's district or whatever like that, is where we live, or where I live. So, it's
that's
kind of like, well, that kind of works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I really like the actors that were in it. I think they picked good ones for their roles.
Very much.
And like your sister, like my girlfriend's really into the books, and she's really a big fan of it. And then obviously the movies, and she really enjoys it a lot. So I thought she'll probably like it if I watch it at some point as well.
Well, now you can go get yourself a bow and start shooting squirrels off trees.
Yeah, could already do that probably.
Now you gotta watch the movie first, and then you go do that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, we watched the movie, so yeah. All right, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say, speaking of books that are movies or whatever, I watched the second season of Jack Ryan.
Okay, nice.
That was okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say okay.
I was gonna say you were really.
I think I overhyped it for myself. Because I was really looking forward to it, and the first season was really good. There were like just a couple things where I was like, I don't really like this about the first season, but in the second season, I was like, hopefully they got that stuff fixed, and then they did. But then it was the stuff that they did really well in the first season that took a step back. Like, I felt the story was a lot weaker than the first one and relied heavily upon coincidence. It's like, no, never do that. The romantic interest from the first movie or first season, gone. Just not even talked about.
Oh, so it just kind of disappeared in thin air?
Yeah.
Or?
It's like it never happened. Heck, it's like 90% of the first season never happened. And I was just like, wait, what? Why aren't you guys talking?
That does sound like a bit of a downer.
Yeah, it's like you guys are talking about like the main bad guy from last season, but that's kind of it. There was no like throwbacks to, hey, you remember when, or anything like that. But yeah, they basically hit the main topics from the very last episode. Like, hey, this is where we left off. Now we're gonna move forward. And I'm just like, that's not how you make an in-depth story.
So it sounds like it's sort of two separate stories almost.
That's what it felt like. And as someone who's trying to write a story, I'm like, no. Bad writers don't do that. And I'm just some amateur punk who's like, I'm tired of watching and reading bad stories, so I'm just going to write one. So, yeah.
I mean, it's not just that, right?
I mean, kind of.
Okay.
But speaking about good stories, I'm reading the Witcher series.
Oh, nice.
And I am hooked on that. Those were some awesome books. I have never played the games, even though I have several people pushing for me to play the games. I just haven't found... It's like, if I'm going to play a game, I feel like it has to kind of be Minecraft so I can put content out there. And I really haven't felt the urge to really grind Minecraft. Mainly because this week I tried several times getting on, and it would just constantly kick me off.
Ooh,
I mean,
yeah, I can see.
I sent you some message in Discord. Like, I logged in, immediately got teleported about 30 blocks away, 400 blocks in the air, and died.
What?
Right.
How does that happen?
I don't know. But I log back in, I went to pick up my stuff, and I'm just walking all over my stuff, and none of it's going into my inventory. So that's when I go, oh crap, it's a bad connection issue, and I logged out in hopes that my items wouldn't despawn. And I tried a couple hours later, was able to get on with a decent connection, got my stuff, but then I just logged out. I was like, I'm not going to deal with this today.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, that's why I haven't been doing a lot of Minecraft. Like, I want to say Sunday, I planned on streaming some, and the connection was so bad. I was just like, I'm not doing it. And I don't know if it's my internet, or if it's just the server, or if it's just me with the server, because people on the server saying they're fine, but I saw a lot of people logging it in and out, just like I was. So it's like, I don't know.
That doesn't really... Yeah, I don't know. I didn't notice much this week, but I was on, and there weren't many other people on, so I don't know if that might change things.
And I think that might have been because there were 8 people on when I was trying to get on.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of people.
Server's not really used to that anymore.
Server was hopping. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm not really wanting to grind some Minecraft right now anyways. I was just trying to hop on and, get some creative juices flowing. I didn't already have them flowing, so it wasn't worth forcing it and ruining my experience and maybe someone else's experience with lag.
But you were still talking about The Witcher?
Yeah, I'm reading the first Witcher book. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying it. So Netflix has a Witcher series coming out, and that's what I started reading it because I read that the Netflix series follows the books more than it does the games. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go get a book and start reading. And sure enough, I'm like 100 and something pages in, and I'm hooked. The only bad part is the chapters in the Witcher book, they're like 30 pages long. Ooh. So if you're like halfway through the chapter, you're like, man, I'm kind of tired. I'd like to go ahead and go to sleep now. I can't do that. I have to stop at the end of a chapter.
That's what I usually do. I haven't read in a while, but usually I did it before sleeping and stuff. And I was like, I'll read one more chapter, and that's a nice time to go to sleep. Yeah. But if they're that long, like, reading one chapter could already, like, go over time, I guess.
Yeah, I'm used to books having, like, 10, maybe even 15 pages per chapter, which is fine. Even those are, to me, are a little on the long side. But 30 pages, I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, I want to say I'm on like, page 200 something, and I'm, like, on chapter 5.
Oh, wow. Like, I mean, if you got the time, it shouldn't matter that much, though. I think you might have inspired me, because I did play all the games. Although the first 2 have been, like, quite a while ago. Yeah. And I didn't read the books, but since I'm going on vacation next week, that might be
they are very good books. My only complaint, other than the chapters, was you don't get to the main character till like page 80, but they do it so it sets the world up very well. Like there's a lot
that
of
makes
lore
sense.
And
you got to sort of introduce. Yeah.
It did say like there's a bunch of short stories leading into the first book. I didn't feel like reading the short stories. I just jumped immediately into the first book, and I'm not lost at all, so it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, that's cool. Because when you started mentioning that, I was like, oh, I just want to jump into the books.
Yeah, I just jumped into the book. I didn't want to have to fight to go find all these short stories somewhere. But yeah, you can just jump in and you'll be fine.
Sweet. I'll go look into that then. Might be a nice thing to do next week.
Yeah. Should we go ahead and move on to the news?
Yeah, let's start talking about Minecraft, I guess.
That would be good. This is a Minecraft podcast.
Yeah. So they got a new snapshot. Not too big, but I mean some interesting stuff. Honey bottles now stack to 16. That's kind of nice, I think.
Yeah.
The Iron Golems, like their what is it? Their appearance changed, how much damage you take. That was already in there, and they now sort of linked it to actually how do you explain it well? Like how much of it, how much percentage of its max AP it's left. Like it sort of links to that.
Okay.
Better apparently. Parrots no longer imitate polar bears, wolves, and zombie pigmen.
Why?
I don't know. It also made me wonder if there's other animals or things they don't copy.
Yeah, I thought they copied every mob.
Yeah, but apparently not. Or maybe they just are starting to slowly remove that now. Vertical particles now perform better when colliding with blocks. I'm gonna guess that's mainly for smoke from campfires.
Yeah, I was gonna say smoke and bubbles.
Oh, yeah, bubbles. And there were some changes to the recipe books, like when you get certain recipes. And they were mainly aimed at like an iron block. Before you apparently needed to have 9 iron ingots before you got the recipe to make an iron block. And now you only need 1.
Okay.
So all those sort of conversions to blocks.
Yeah, it's just letting you what you needed to do to get to that thing.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, maybe I've missed some, but I looked through what actual changes they made. And it looked to be all like within that sort of area.
Yeah, the honey bottle stacking's cool. It's still not going to make it a viable food source. But stacking's
it also doesn't... It didn't give you that much food back anyway anymore,
no.
did it?
Like, I want to say cookies were better for you than bottles of honey.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Iron Golem damage, I'm super excited about that. I was super excited when I heard about it, now that it's actually working correctly, like I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Because you never know how much damage is left on an Iron Golem.
Exactly. Now I might actually use them a bit more.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine looking at an iron farm and watching the Iron Golem like burn in lava, and he starts to get that like when you pick a block breaking animation? It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and yeah, the parrots confused me. It's like I didn't know they didn't not make noises.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and why those? Why polar bears, wolves, and zombie pigmen? Could that? I mean, could that just really be a bug that happened, and they're gonna call it a change, or what? But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see an explanation on it when I. Well, that was pretty much all they said. Like, that's gonna happen. It's like okay. Maybe someone knows.
I guess we will move on.
Yeah. It's
my turn. So, guys, we have a Discord. It's a great place to hang out with fellow Withering Effect members and ask people who work on the episodes questions, because we really do like answering questions. I know that some of you may not believe it, but seriously, you can ask us questions, and we love to respond to them. It may take us a little while, because we all do work full-time. But, yeah. It's the best way to get in contact with us, and we always love to hear from you guys. So join the Discord. It's in the show notes. Link. Click.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
Ad-lib that like crazy. You guys hear that?
Oh, well, I didn't.
Thanks, Beck.
Well, I could read along. Maybe that affected it. But I don't know. Sounded good.
Well, I got halfway through it, and I just started making stuff up.
That's true. Yeah.
Ad lib.
Do you want to go to the main topic?
Let's go to the main topic. These guys are tired of hearing me rant.
I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, alright, this week's topic. Changes to the end.
Yeah, welcome to the end.
Yeah, it's the end. I mean, the end's kind of we've covered, like, changes to a lot of things, so the end's, it's a nice thing to talk about.
It makes sense. We have the Nether update coming, and a lot of people were talking about cave updates. Well, we've already talked about cave updates, and the opposite to the Nether would be the end. So why not talk about stuff we would like to see happen to the end?
Yeah, and I think there could be, well, I mean, there's a lot of room for potential in there. It's still kind of empty. I guess there's a lot of people who might not really be familiar with the end, because, I mean, we had Decoy launching a video last week saying that, well, it was the first time fighting the dragon for him, or at least by himself. So there's even, like, a lot of experienced players who don't really get into the end a lot. So that title might be nice to sort of cover what's currently in the end, actually, for the people who don't get there too often.
Okay.
Well, I think pretty much everyone knows there's, like, a main central island where you enter the end, and which has the exit portal and the dragon, and that's where the dragon fight happens. And then you got a huge gap to the outer islands. I think it's like 1,000 blocks.
Okay.
1,000 block, like, void gap around the main island, and then you get all the end islands, the outer islands.
Yeah, the smaller islands.
Yeah, and you can teleport there with a portal that's on the main island. I think every time you kill the dragon, you get a new portal or an extra one.
I want to say there's like 20 portals.
Yeah, I think in total you can get like 20.
Yeah, correct us if we're wrong.
And then I'm sure people will. And on the outer islands, you got those are all like kind of little islands. Well, they can be big as well. It's varying in size, and they are well, that's where you can find the end cities and chorus plants. And in the end cities, you can find the shulkers to get shulker boxes, and you can find elytras, and everything is kind of made out of endstone. Except for the cities, they're made of endstone brick and purple blocks. But that's about what's in the end at the moment.
Yeah, so...
Which I think is not that much.
No, I mean, basically the end is what I call a chore. So you go to the end, you fight the dragon. Now, the very next step, I want to say 90% of the people who fight the dragon go looking for an elytra. You get shulker boxes, you get an elytra, you get some loot, like diamond armor, diamonds, whatever. But that's basically it. And then when you go back to the end, it's usually set up an Enderman farm so you can grind for XP quicker. And then that's it. You don't go back to the end unless you need more shulker boxes, or your dumb self fell in lava and now you done lost your elytra. Because that's what happens to me.
I guess sometimes people go back to get Dragon's Breath, so they'll fight the dragon, like... an extra time.
But you're just farming materials. There's no real reason to be in the end. Other than
I mean, myself included. Mostly I go there. It's just for practical purposes. Yeah. I need to get stuff, and for the rest, I don't really like being there.
Yeah, you're running an errand. And to me, that's the way the Nether was. The Nether was, I need to run and get something. You don't want to spend time in the Nether. It's a nasty place. But now they have this Nether update where they're coming up with some cool stuff to look at. Well, I don't think it's going to cause a lot of people like myself to go, ooh, I want to live in the Nether the entire time. I think it was a great step in the correct direction, and I feel the end could really use something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Well, I thought that... I remember, like, when I started the game a long time ago, but the Nether had that as well. It's like a very intense place to be, and you're like really scared and all that. But for the end, it died out like quite quickly. It was really intense and interesting at the start, and then it kind of quickly got just like, oh, this is a chore. There's no fun being here, really.
Yeah. To me, once you get an elytra, the end is not a scary place. You're not worried about falling.
You just fly everywhere.
Yeah. So to me, it needs to give you some stuff to go see. And that's when I came up and said, well, you need end villages. we're getting something like that in the Nether with piglins. I want that in the end. Give me some villages.
Oh, that could be interesting. I guess also have corresponding villagers.
Yeah, I thought you could do something like the piglins, so they're not like regular villagers, but kind of creating another kind of friendly mob that might trade unique items to the end. Make sure that whatever items you get from the end can only be gotten from the end, so it gives you a reason to kind of go there. The other thing was, just like they did in the Nether, I want different colors. So basically the end is pretty much purple, yellow, and black. That's it.
It's mostly yellowish, I feel.
That's all the colors in the entire world. And it's just like, come on, we need some more stuff. I want like purples and orange. I had the idea of maybe use mycelium, so now you have a second location to dig up mycelium.
Ooh.
In the maybe like end villages, or I know that's using purple again. But maybe, I don't know, make watercolors different. Maybe water in the end, instead of being blue, it's green. Or something crazy like that.
I think I saw on the wiki, when I quickly looked on there earlier, that in the, I think mobile edition or pocket edition it's called. I think they made the water in the end purple.
See? But I wouldn't want purple, because everything's already purple and yellow and black, so...
Yeah, but, I mean, at least they did something.
Yeah. I had another thought that... So, Dragon's Breath is pretty much only used for lingering potions, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you used a lingering potion?
Well, I think the better question is, when's the last time I used a potion?
Okay, true.
Not that often. Yeah.
So, it's mainly used for what? Tipped arrows and lingering potion. Two things that don't really get used a ton. I would love to be able to take Dragon's Breath and create a particle block. I mean, it seems like things are getting really good with smoke particles and bubbles and stuff like that. So they're not really affecting gameplay performance. And
even if it did, like they're working on better graphic performance and all that. So yeah.
Well, and I got this idea from your path you're working on that I looked at Friday. I don't want to say too much more and give it away, but the idea of being able to say, well, I want particles just kind of floating around in this area would be really cool. And you hit the block with a die and it changes the colors. It would create such a great ambiance to be able to have like little sparkles somewhere. It's like that would give me a reason to farm Dragon's Breath.
Yeah, then you could build in places where you wouldn't want to build.
Yeah.
Like if you can have particles, you can just walk through it. It doesn't affect anything. But now you could create fogs and something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you can really make an ambience somewhere, that would be awesome. I like that.
I mean, maybe they are light blocks too, so maybe they give off level 15 light or something like that.
I mean, I'm always up for more light blocks.
Placing them in water would probably be a problem. So I think if you were to try to place a particle block in water, the water would just kind of wash it out like it does redstone.
Oh, okay. Well, you could make it change, do something in water as well. Or maybe have different things for that.
Yeah, what's your next thing?
Yeah, my thing, I'd like to... I mean, it's such a waste of a dimension, kind of, at the moment.
Agreed.
And because we already have the Nether, which is also almost an R&D kind of dimension. But I mean, you could live there, because you could make an end portal sort of right next to where you want to be, and then you always have a spawn point nearby. But I'd like to have something for the end to... I mean, if we're gonna make it more interesting, give me a spawn point.
Yeah.
So I can live there. I mean, you can use everything. You can have water. You can bring mobs in there. So it's actually, it has the same kind of mechanics as the overworld, except the bed explodes. And I mean, I get a bed wouldn't work because you don't have day and night, but I mean, I want to have a spawn point in there, being able to live there.
I mean, just being able to put like a custom portal to somewhere where your bed is like physically be able to say, I want a portal here, would make it 20 times better than it is now. So you don't have to constantly go through the main island to get back and forth.
Yeah, well, you have the occasional portal that brings you back to the main island. But they're fairly random, I think.
And you can't move them. So the ability to say, I want a blue, quote-unquote, end portal or whatever, that'll take me to the overworld where my bed's located would be awesome.
Yeah. I also thought maybe it could be cool to have... Because you have a lot of end portals in the overworld. Maybe you could make it so that each end portal goes to a different main island.
Ooh, true.
I mean, I don't necessarily each have to have a dragon. I think that could be a bit chore-ish again.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think if you have, like, a few main islands, I think that could be interesting. That creates more of a dynamic kind of thing in the end already. You could fly from one portal to another. Maybe you could use it as overworld travel that way.
I agree.
Well, that wouldn't work because you always spawn back at spawn or at your bed. But yeah, I don't know. You know.
But it would give a good reason for why there's so many end portals in the overworld.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would also maybe help adding to sort of having that spawn point. If you have different end islands, you have different places to go, I guess.
I agree with that.
And along with that, I thought it could be cool to have some kind of connection with another dimension. Because you have the Nether and the overworld. And then it's used for quick travel, usually. Maybe you could make some kind of cool connection with a dimension as well, with the end. Instead of just being a... Because now it's a sort of a separate dimension. You just go there and go back. And there's no real link to any other one.
What kind of dimension would it link to?
Well, I was thinking maybe the sky dimension, which everyone has sort of talked about before and everything.
What kind of...
Because it sort of resembles space, so I think that could be a really nice link.
What kind of mob would live in this sky dimension?
Well, you can answer that.
I want you to say it, Bank.
Alright, well, maybe a red dragon.
Red dragons, Mojang. Where's my red dragon? I want to ride a red dragon.
Rideable red dragon.
There's my one.
Oh, that would be cool to fly around through the end on a red dragon.
It would be. I mean, could you imagine? So basically, just take the end as it is now. None of our improvements. Instead of it being dark with the space theme, you put like a daylight theme behind it. And instead of in stone, it's like grass and regular stone. I mean, it's the exact same, except opposite. And that's the sky dimension, right?
I mean, I feel like a sky dimension needs clouds.
Well, you would put clouds.
Gotta have a cloud block.
My other idea to kind of make the end cooler was play with gravity. I think I mentioned this before.
I like that.
But, I don't know, make it so every once in a while the whole double jump effect you can get with a beacon is somewhere because you have biomes in the end. Make certain biomes have the double jump effect. Maybe you could have particle blocks that cause the double jump effect. Something like that.
Ooh, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to say...
Where you have different biomes with like different gravity effects. That's... Ooh, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I want to say I've talked about that before, but I wanted to reiterate it because that's something I say simple, but to me it feels like it could be simple that really would just straight up change the dynamic of the end.
Yeah, and it would make it sort of its own dimension. I just mentioned that it's kind of... It's just the overworld, but you can't sleep in a bed. You don't have day and night. That way it would become its own sort of... It would have something special.
Yeah, speaking of overworld stuff, I'd like a food option from the end. I mean, I know we have the coarse fruit, and you could eat it, technically, but it teleports you. So I would like its own food. The Nether now has its own food source. So
yeah,
I would like the end to have its own food source. I don't know what it could be. Let me eat endermites for once. Those things just
maybe something like that.
Anyways.
I think that could be a good idea. I mean, the most fun would be to create another sort of its own mob or mob set for the end, I guess.
And if we have end villages, obviously there would be some
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think the end definitely... I mean, it's already filled with Endermen,
Mm-hmm.
which sort of... I mean, it's kind of an Enderman spam in there.
It really is.
So being able to add, like, a lot of different... Well, maybe not a lot, but just a few different mobs or animals and villagers kind of resemblance thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could do really well, just to make it more interesting too.
Yeah. Another thought I had was treasure hunts. So we kind of have the treasure map from the sunken ships and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she's going nuts right now. Anyways, so we have the treasure hunts and sunken ships. I would love to have something like that in the end. Maybe like a temple or something you can go find. And maybe this is where you can find the super rare enchanted golden apple.
What about having a dragon slayer, and that's where you can find the red dragon as well?
Red dragon, guys. But yeah.
So you could make like an end cave.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we need something. We need points of interest.
Yeah.
And that was my idea with the treasure hunt. That it would be... I don't know anyone who doesn't like getting the treasure map and going and looking for the treasure. It's a fun little thing. Obviously, after a while, it gets kind of boring and no one does them anymore.
Well, it gets repetitive.
Right.
Yeah, they're all sort of the same-ish.
Right. So, if you can get an end one, I think that would be a nice little touch that people might find enjoyable. Maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in general, any variation. I think if you add more colors, just some different blocks have its own grass. Mm-hmm. I mean, mycelium could be a great one for that.
Well, I said mycelium at first. One, because it's purple, so it kind of blends in. And two, I would like a spot where Endermen don't spawn. I'd like some non-spammed Endermen somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. It just gets so... The end's so repetitive. All the same block. Mm-hmm. And then all the same animals. Or mobs. And then all the same plants. And then once in a while you get a city.
Right. And in that city, there's the same mob you've seen over and over again. And then there's
only one mob in there, pretty much. Which, yeah.
So, it's like... I mean, we have these in cities with this floating pirate ship. But... You're going to try to tell me an Enderman or a Shulker built those things? I don't think so.
And pirates?
Yeah.
I mean, they could do something with those ships. I mean, this might be, like, too heavy on the game, but... I mean, what about having them fly around and that has some... I don't know. Little flying pirate ships with, like, pirate attacks.
Or make the ships themselves just random. More random. Like, so as of right now, you have to find an end city... And you have to hope that end city has a pirate ship.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, you don't get an elytra. Well, the city is missing the ship. Where's the ship? Have it randomly spread out throughout the end. Just have a random ship there.
I mean, that would make sense. It's a transportation device. Mm-hmm. Have it be away from the cities.
Exactly. Gives you more chances to get an elytra, and it adds even just the littlest bit of story to the game.
Also, it makes you look for more than just an end city, because now you just... Well, once you get an elytra, you just fly around until you see, like, something else than the end stone. Mm-hmm. And then, that's where you're gonna get everything. There's no reason to look for something else. If you have random end ships, like, that's something else to look for. Mm-hmm. That would already make it more interesting.
Right. To me, like, I know we just had an end update just a couple years ago. And it did bring a lot of cool stuff with the expansion of the end and the end cities with shulkers and shulker boxes and elytras. But to me, the shulker box and the elytra felt like where their focus was. It's like, these are really two cool... I was trying to say good and cool at the same time. And it
became the opposite.
Yeah, it became ghoul. It was two really good and cool items, and then they tried to say, okay, now how can we get players to get these items? Mm-hmm. So then they expanded the end with the end cities and stuff like that. I want more than that.
It almost feels like a cheap solution. Like, we want to add shulker boxes and elytra. Where are we going to do that? We'll make an end city and shove it in there.
Yeah. But the end city is not going to
be
occupied.
I'm sure they told more about it. But... Sorry, what?
And the end city is not going to be occupied.
I mean, Shulkers is a weird kind of... Mm-hmm. Why that? Or why only those? Well, like you said, who built the end cities?
Yeah. Of course, now I just had a great image in my head. Imagine, like, a villager getting shot with a shulker pellet. And you know how they start floating up? Well, villagers that live at the end have obviously figured out how to deal with shulkers. So instead of immediately falling to the ground and splatting, they all have that slow falling potion effect with them. So they all just float up and then they float back down. It would annoy the crap out of the shulkers.
Yeah, I mean they could be great distractions though for you.
Very true.
Just put a few of those. Well, I'm just gonna call them villagers for the ease.
Yeah.
Shove them into the end cities and then go and kill the shulkers while you take the end villagers.
But for the most part, I'm just tired of seeing purple and yellow. I want more colors in the end.
Pretty much.
I mean, I felt
and I wanna have a reason to be there without it being a chore.
Yeah.
Like forever, I wanted to kind of build a base in the end because it seems like an interesting thing to do. And then one thing that's stopping me is being able to have a comfortable spawn point. Mm-hmm. Like I don't necessarily have to be in my base with a spawn point. Like I don't mind having to walk a minute. But I mean, if I do it now, that would be a bit insane. Like I'd have to put it out in the overworld near a portal, and then go out off the main island, off to the separate islands to go to my spot.
Yeah.
That's quite a trip.
Yeah. There definitely needs to be better travel to the end. For me, it's just the Enderman spam. That mob is so annoying. And it's just like, can I not?
It's so excessive in the end when you're there.
It really is, because there's no other mobs, so it just keeps mob capping the Enderman, and it's like, it makes me not want to be there.
Well, and another thing, it's just so empty.
Yeah,
like it's all just the same color, the same block. It's not even the same color. It's just all the same block. That just gets. I think that it's gonna get really boring quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at.
Granted, you could like rebuild it and make nice things.
You look at the Nether update. The Nether's biggest problem was everything was red. Well, now there's some colors in this place.
Yeah.
So definitely it should be done to the end. The only problem I have with this is we're supposed to be getting biome updates, but I don't think they're going to be coming for the next couple years. So here we are asking for an end world update.
Well, I mean, I think they already said that the biome update wasn't going to happen like for 1.15 or 1.16. Right. So that's a long time away. Mm-hmm.
It's like YT's does.
Yeah, you're right. Although at the same time, I think I remember that they did mention they did want to change the end at some point. Like, yeah, they knew it wasn't done and it needs work. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I read that somewhere a while ago.
Yeah, and I'm all for changing the biome up instead of making an extremely new dimension. Although I think the sky dimension tied to the end dimension is a great idea. And not just because I want red dragons.
But I'd love to have a sky dimension, but at the same time, I feel like why make another dimension if you still have unfinished ones?
Still with me?
I'd rather... Sorry?
The microphone cut out like it always does.
What, my microphone? Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice anything. Okay. Wait, what did I say?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Something...
Yeah, that the sky dimension is a great idea. But why make another dimension if you have unfinished ones? I feel like they gotta finish before they add new dimensions.
Well, I mean, to me, the sky dimension would be easy enough in the fact that you should really just take the end and flip the kind of blocks you're using. It should.
That is a good point.
It should look exactly like the end, just with different blocks.
I mean, I'd like one connection I thought of actually. I had an example. Is that you could now if you fall in the end and you fall into the void, you're gonna die. what about you fall to the sky dimension? And the way to get... Well, maybe it would be too easy to get into the end by flying up in the sky dimension.
Yeah, I always assumed,
but I think it could be cool to be able to, like, fall down and then fall into the sky dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, if you keep falling, you're just gonna hit the ground.
I thought about that too, but to me, the easier solution would be to make it like the end and you would just fall into a void.
That's true. It's probably gonna be way easier to do it that way.
Because if you tie the end in a sky dimension to the overworld like that, that's a lot of CPU power you're using.
Well, unless you make, like, little loading screens in between still.
That could be true.
I mean, you could still have them as separate biomes. Or as separate dimensions. Yeah. But it would give it sort of a connection. I mean, it could be kind of cool, I guess, if you would fall down in the end, but wouldn't be able to fly up. Mm-hmm. So you still have, like, a penalty from falling in the void. You just wouldn't die. You would end up in another dimension, and then you would have to travel back to an end portal and get back in or something. I think that could be, But yeah, it might be hard to make that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like, I want to go you're right and wrong at the same time, but we don't know anything. Obviously, Mojang...
I mean, these are just, like, suggestions or what. Yeah, just little ideas.
Mojang knows what they're doing. They've proved it for sure on the last 3 updates, with doing the ocean biome update, the village update, and now the nether update. They're going back and they're fixing the stuff that people say is just not quite up to snuff anymore. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of you guys listening to these podcasts, we talk a lot about how we would improve the game and stuff like that. But when it all comes down to it, Mojang knows what they're doing, except for when it comes to red dragons. Because why I don't have one, I don't know. But yeah, so I assume the end's going to get fixed at some point. Hopefully some of our suggestions can give them an idea of where maybe the community is looking to go.
I mean, it would be really cool if they're listening to it. Yeah.
I just want more than yellow and purple and black and mobs that scream at you when you look at them.
I want to be able to hang around in there.
Yeah. And I think that's what they did with the nether. Is like the nether is a place where you can go and hang around a little bit now.
Mm-hmm. Or well, it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be. So I assume they would try to do the same thing with the end.
Yeah, if they do the same thing to what they're gonna do to the nether now, if they're gonna put that much thought and effort into an end, I'm really looking forward to it then.
I am too, but I think that's kind of it for us. We don't have much more to cover. It's a shorter podcast for sure.
Yeah, well, that's sometimes gonna happen.
Sometimes, but you want to go ahead and get us out of here?
I'll get us out of here. If you like the show, you can share it with all your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, please follow us. Or if you listen on Apple Podcast, wow, words. Leave us a review. That really helps us out to reach more listeners. If you'd like to get into contact with the show, send an email to podcast@rippleeffectsmp.com. Send us a tweet or join our Discord. That's always the best thing to do. You can actually have a chat with us and everybody else who listens and works on the show. Links will be in the show notes.
Yeah, this show has been brought to you by Bank, myself, and our digital producer, Carl. He helps make sure the show ends up where it's supposed to and not somewhere on some end pirate ship with a screaming tall guy. The amazing music you hear in the intro and outro is created by the one and only Decoy. Both their social media info can be found in the show notes. And you guys have been awesome as always. By the way, we're over 3,000 listens. Holy cow.
I know.
Thank you so much for getting where there does this. Go drink your milk. Bye.
See ya later.